All right, Makita's XGT 40 volt cordless 6.5 inch plunge saw, track saw if you're in America. This thing's amazing, but also the 36 volt track saw was also by Makita, was also amazing. I'm gonna show you the small, minute differences of this one and why I upgraded. All right, bare tool, part number GPS01Z as in Z, and then GPS01MJ as in Mike Juliet for the 1 battery kit. Links in the description if you guys want to pick them up. This tool, like all track saws, are a complete, absolute asset. So, a couple things. All right, so it's a 6.5 inch plunge circular saw. It's 11 pounds. It's about 0.2 pounds lighter than the 36 volt, so it's not too much lighter, but it is also lighter. 2 3/16 at 90 degrees cut capacity, and then 1 9/16 at 45 degrees. That's what you're gonna get with it. 2,500 to 4,900 RPMs, no load, and then bevels -1 to 48 degrees beveling. And you get about 11/16 close to a wall with this thing, so you can get pretty close to a wall cutting stuff right there. You do have positive stops at 22.5 and 45 degrees. I mean, that's basically the gist of this tool. It's pretty straightforward. There's, I mean, it's the track. If you guys are see, I'll link them in the description below. The 36 volt track saw is pretty similar. There is a couple things that are different. One actually being that there's one battery. There's one battery. You guys can see it right there. 40 volt. Technically, it's 36 volt, but it's one battery. And the slim profile, you guys can see, it does not stick out and protrude like the 36 volt does, and I believe the corded version of this as well. So mostly there's a lot of stuff that's similar to this, but like it's not broke, don't fix it. Makita, they did not. Pretty much everything's in place. It does have that gunmetal gray finish to it. You do have your bevel adjustments right here. You got your locking for your track right there as well, and pretty much everything else is exactly the same. You do have right there, guys, you guys can see it right there, AWS, which I'll get to in a second. One of the reasons why I upgraded this saw. That is your Bluetooth capable compatibility to a vacuum. So that way you don't need to hit a button or tell a vacuum to start by yourself. It just does it by itself via Bluetooth. You still have your speed right there, 1 through 5. If I can see it right there, 1 through 5 is still there. And then obviously your profile is pretty much the exact same. We do have more of a face forward plunging handle, which I like. It's very nice. And then your dust port right here, you can twist it. It does have little stops, which is nice because the 36 volt, I believe, if I remember correctly, did not. So that is actually kind of nice. Super nice, actually. So, oh, and then you do have onboard tool storage. Right, let's see if I can see it right there. Right there. So onboard tool storage right there for your blade. And then you do have the positive stop. And then bring down and you can get to your blade that way as well. So, all right, so there's a couple tools on the job site where if I see them on the job, I'm like, hey, that's professional grade. A couple things come to mind. One is for some reason a rear handle saw for me. If I see somebody who has a rear handle saw, and it tells me they've been around the block, they know why they need a rear handle saw, and they're technically, I mean, it just shows me that they're a little more professional than the average homeowner kind of thing. Another one would be pretty much anything Festool. If I see a Festool, anything on a job site, usually they're doing their job for a living. For one, there's a high buy-in price point, and then two, they know the value of Festool. They're fantastic. I'll get into probably another video why I invested in Makita over Festool as far as the track saw, but that's another video. And then another tool would be the track saw, because I don't see very many of them on a job site, nor probably some of them don't need to be, but none of my subs have them, and even though they do work that requires them, I mean, they get the job done, don't get me wrong, but as soon as Makita dropped their 36 volt track saw back in like 2017, I want to say, if somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but 2017, I think I had mine since 2018. I mean, like it pretty much breaking down large material is never been easier. I know you've seen these like these videos like people turning table saws upside down with the fence and then cutting a bunch of plywood that way. I mean, that's a way to do it for sure. But man, just throw a track up there, throw your plunge saw, and just get to work. It's the efficiency, fantastic. So I will say the track saw itself is based for those who are looking for efficiency and they want to work smarter, not harder. You want to move around large bulk material as least amount of times as possible. And an aluminum track with the 10 or 11 pound track saw, it can be pretty much a lot easier than like a 50, 60, 70 pound piece of wood, you know? So, it's apps for me, it's efficiency. It just, you know, it's easier for me to do the work. And obviously if I'm saving time on the job site, it's money, right? So I had the 36 volt, Makita track saw since 2018. Honestly, that saw was great. Makita's AWS wasn't even out then, so you know, I'm not too worried about dust anyway. But at the same time, I mean, it does help for sure. But that saw, I would not have built out my Polk trailer itself without a track saw. It was not in my. Since I had the track saw, just like anything else, I can find work for it. And I can bid jobs based on me having the tool to get the job done in an efficient manner. So it absolutely is a no-brainer for me. I would never not have a track saw. And if my entire trailer, you know, was gone for some horrible reason, track saw would be probably top 5, probably top 7 tools I would buy right off the bat, and not even thinking about it because they're that important. So now, you know, storing 18-inch track and then a 55-inch track, it can be might kind of hard for you if you're in a mobile setup, but I make it work because I have a tool trailer. So I just love efficiency and tools that make me more efficient. The track saw itself is just that. It is absolutely a tool, just for efficiency. You move materials once, cut them in place, break them down into smaller pieces, and then you're good to go. So all right, now let's talk about why I upgraded the 36 volt to the 40 volt. The main one is one battery line. I am downgrading, or I'm just trying to consolidate my batteries. I knew I was upgrading my miter saw because of the shadow line for the Makita, and it was pretty much a no-brainer for me since they came out with the 40 volt track saw that I would upgrade that as well, and I did. And it's nice having one battery per tool. Not too worried about it. It didn't affect me too much my 36 volt track saw or my 36 volt miter saws, but it is nicer. The limited time I've had with this one, it is just nice just having one battery. And then also if your tool needs 2 batteries, you really need 4 because you need backups. You need them on the charger getting ready, so that way when you're done using the battery on the tool, then you can just throw them on the charger and keep going. You need to keep production going as well. So second reason, AWS. I know 36 volt has an AWS version of it. I did not purchase that one because I bought mine first up. So I know there was one, but since AWS is the Bluetooth, you know, for shop vacs and all that kind of stuff with the Makita, I absolutely would. That's another main reason why I upgraded. If they didn't come out with this, I probably would have upgraded to the 36 volt AWS because it's, dust, keeping the dust down is important, but it's not everything. I use this tool a lot on the outside too, so I'm not really worried about dust flying outside in the grass and stuff as well. So this tool does have electronic kickback protection, which is also kind of nice. I have not actually experienced that on this new tool. It has not kicked back at me at all. The old, my 36 volt has before, and I've ruined one track with it and a blade. So it is what it is. I have not experienced it, so I can't say that it works great or not, but it's better to have it, not need it, than need it, not have it. And I guess it's another feature that it's on with the tool as well. That's another reason I was looking to upgrade. I can buy the Festool. They have a cordless Festool track saw, dual battery as well. But this being Makita, and I had all Makita tools, I wasn't buying into a second or a fourth battery line. I already sold my other one Festool tool, and I am down to three battery lines right now. So that's why I upgraded. How would I say as far as who needs this tool? Professionals who want to break down large material, and that if you need to break down a lot of large material, it's a no-brainer. Just any track saw. It's going to make your life so much easier. If you need clean, accurate, and straight cuts on, like, say, long, you know, if you need a long cut, 118-inch track or whatever, I forget what the actual length of my long track is, but you can cut some long. I can put that down on a subfloor, make a long, accurate cut to if I'm trying to cut out a piece of a subfloor or a piece of a house to, you know, repair it or anything like that. I can do that. I've done it before. Yeah, you might hit a nail and you might have to replace a blade here and there, but it works absolutely great, and I can make sure that I keep them straight. My cuts are straight, that way, you know, straight pieces of, you know, plywood can go right back down on the subfloor, and we can keep moving, and I don't have to cut it to fit. So the last thing I want to say is if you think you need a track saw, if efficiency matters to you, you need a track saw. It absolutely, I know you can get by with a table saw, and my thing is if you're cutting down large material, often you use a track saw. If you're doing like small materials, table saw. And obviously table saw and track saw go hand in hand. I would not have one without the other. They both really help, and I'm building a Polk workstation right now, and I've been using the crap out of both of my table saw and this track saw. I have probably about maybe a half dozen to a dozen more cuts left on my Polk workstation with the track saw, and as you guys can see, the battery for this 4 amp hour is still, do I have it there? There we go. You guys can see, still full. So granted, I only have maybe 3 hours of cutting, not, you know, all the time, but 3 hours of work with this, and the battery is still full. So this is an absolute game changer. If you don't have one, I know you can get by with one. They make, you know, I know a lot of people make, you know, jigs and stuff like that to use your circular saw as a track saw itself, but this is just efficiency at its peak. I just love it so much for how much time it saves me. Makita did a great job. They didn't do a lot as far as changing, so if you're looking at a huge change from your 36 volt to your 40 volt tool, you're not going to see it. You're going to see small changes here and there, but you still have, you know, your depth. Everything here is exactly the same for the most part, as your 36 volt is going to look very familiar, which is great for me because, you know, there was no learning curve for me. I just went straight to work with it, and absolutely everything I wanted in a tool like this. Now, if Makita would actually just release a 40 volt vacuum, that'd be great. That would be great. But we're not there yet at the time of this video anyway. So now a couple things. If you guys are looking for the AWS, there is a chip that goes in here. You have to buy that separately, and I do have a few of them. They're expensive, about $70 I want to say USD. And you need one per tool, so just keep that in mind. You're going to need that. It is another thing, another additional cost. So these tools are not cheap. These are professional grade, pretty, I would say, you know, these are, I mean, yeah, professional grade tools. Like, nothing's cheap about them, right? So I think that's all I've got to say about this. 3, 2, 1. All right, guys, that's basically all I have for it. The track saw is amazing. Go buy yourself one if you think you need it. Try it out. They're fantastic. They save me so much time on the job site. Plus, it makes my personal projects a joy to do. And I find myself selling work because I have the tool itself, or saying yes to work because I know I have a track saw to make my life that much easier. So I appreciate you guys. Like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.